this a once-weekly shop?
Yes, every Tuesday, because the prices are that much cheaper. Also, they give double green shield stamps.
Collecting the stamps and counting the pennies is a full-time job for Mavis Atherton. It has to be. She must put thought and footslog into getting value for money. She has only £8.10 a week to cater for herself, her husband and her 2 school-aged sons, and after 8 years of marriage can tell you where every halfpenny goes. Her basic weekly shop doesn't vary much. The boys are heavy on butter, but cake she makes herself. Meat is bought midweek while it's cheaper, unless she catches a bargain frozen chicken, and she knows eggs cost less up the road. But even the best hatched plan sometimes goes astray.
What do you do if you find you've overspent 1 week?
I'd have to draw some money out of my savings stamps, or just hold my hand out and look very pathetic.
Is that on the right side?
A couple of shillings under. We're all right this way.
Step off to my friend.
Bob Atherton is an ambulance man, and his public face is one of infinite patience. But it must sometimes take more than just easy tact to be kind when you're niggled by money worries. With enormous thrift and a lot of juggling, he's established a modestly comfortable background for his family. Most ambulance men earn less than the national average, but Bob Atherton always does the overtime. He must, to bring his average pay packet up to the national average. But he'd never seen himself as Mr. Average before.
I'd be rather surprised. I have various friends. They enjoy a better standard of living than I do. By the same token, I have other friends, and they seem to be on average with me. I say I was on the lower levels. There are many friends. One of my friends is an area manager for a large telephone concern. They all earn about $1,500 to $2,000 a year. I seem to be the poor church mouse sometimes.
Bringing up children in a home of your own shouldn't seem too much to ask for, but saving for the deposit on a bungalow in Bexley Heath cost church mouse Bob Atherton a year out of his married life, working all the overtime he could get. He has no regrets. He's a rare average man, a house owner. Most men on this wage will never make it, but like all the others, the Athertons started from scratch.
We went into a flat when we first got married, and my mother-in-law let us use most of her furniture, so really all we bought was the electric cooker, a sink unit and a little kitchen cabinet and table and 2 chairs and a bed. And then after a while, after I had my eldest son, actually, it didn't work out properly, so we had to move, and we went back to my mother. And in the meantime, my husband, he was working 1 week days, 1 week nights, 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week, saving everything he could get, until we finally got a deposit from here. Well, when we moved in here, I'll be perfectly honest, we had precisely nothing, and I mean nothing, except the little bit of furniture, as I say, we bought ourselves. We had a little old second-hand television set, which we paid £4 for, because I spent so many nights here alone with the sort of, just myself and Bob being at work sort of 7 nights a week. We paid £4 for that. We bought an old second-hand dining room suite, which we paid £10 for, which included 2 broken down armchairs. And when we got the dining room suite here, we found it was riddled with woodworm, so we had to promptly take it out the back and burn it. So there we were with a television set, 1 completely broken down armchair and 1 that was fairly respectable.
Did it break your heart to have to burn it?
Well, it did really, because £10 was £10. We just couldn't afford to lose it, really and truly.
What do you think of people who live to every penny they've got and have as much as they can on HP?
Well, I think that's up to them, quite honestly. If that's the way they want to live, well, good luck to them. I suppose they enjoy life like that. But I think Bob and I, we worry too much. If any bill comes in, it doesn't matter whether it's the rates, whether it's the telephone bill, electric, anything. Well, it's nearly always paid the next day. I think I left the last telephone bill I left a week. I put it up in the cupboard and forgot it. And when I found it, I literally went cold because it hadn't been paid. But I think probably if it'd been left to me in the first place, I don't think I'd have been such a prompt payer. But I'm afraid Bob is. He can't bear anything outstanding. It must be paid there and then.
I don't like things piling up on me or snowballing. I've seen this happen in the past to a few other people. They've got one worry, then another bill comes in, another worry. It tends to depress them, to dominate their life. if I can overcome a little obstacle, it never mounts up and becomes a big obstacle. Get by, that's about it.
People might wonder whether you would have had more fun if you blew the whole lot and had a great fling when you were younger. What do you think?
Oh, it's nice having memories, but I'm afraid memories don't keep a roof over your head or look to the future of your children. When you've got children, you tend to look ahead and keep a little bit in the bank. In case of times when you're out of work, a little bit sick, it's nice to have something to fall back on.
What do you do in your free time now?
We usually go out once a year on our wedding anniversary.
What do you do?
Well, we usually go out to town, maybe see a show or some big film that we particularly wanted to see, have a meal and come home. We thoroughly enjoy that. But quite honestly, I just like being at home. But we do love to go out family visiting. That, I think, well, I don't know, it's just an excuse to natter.
Last time I suggested we go out and have a good meal together. This was, something different. Maybe I was a little bit depressed. We'll go out and have a meal, just a couple of hours and enjoy ourselves. But no. May have had the money. She bought a couple of steaks, so we cooked the steaks one night about 9 o'clock, pulled the kitchen table out, had candles, and just like a restaurant, wasn't it? It was nice. It made a change.
It was, yeah.
Admittedly, we didn't go out, but we had just as much enjoyment.
Well, I'm a bit mean. You see, I think, well, I know it's silly, really. You can go into a restaurant and you can spend a lot of money and thoroughly enjoy it. But I seem to think to myself, oh, what couldn't I do with that money? Pay this much for a steak up here, I could get £1 for that money down here and sort of cook the little odds and ends with it myself, and it works out a bit cheaper. I'm afraid I'm a little bit mean like that.
Looking back, what do you regret most about not having as much money to spend as you'd always have liked? What are the things you've missed?
Perhaps we'd like to have a really nice, expensive holiday, really go mad, but sort of at the moment we usually have a caravan anyway, and of course I can then cater for ourselves, so that doesn't cost quite so much. And I think sometimes when the kiddies come in, a couple of particular friends of theirs, I think their parents have got quite a lot more money than we've got, and they come in and say, oh, so-and-so's got this and so-and-so's got that, I wish I could have it. And of course Bob immediately turns round and he says, well, now look, what do you want? Do you want to find Mummy here when you come in from school, or Mummy be at work and you have these things? And they usually end up by saying, oh no, we'd soon have Mummy at home when we come home. So that, I suppose sometimes I wish that, well, perhaps we could go and buy them a new bike, for instance, but we usually get second-hand ones. Mind you, I don't see the point in buying new ones, the way they smash them about, but sometimes I think it would be nice if they could have a new one, that sort of thing.
The average man is not usually the economist perhaps he needs to be. Michael Morgan, a Londoner, travels to the West End to work each day. He's 27, married with 2 children, and money leaves him muddled. So tube fares are the least of his worries.
How much rent do you pay?
£3.
And what does the HP go on?
HP cover, the HP charges amount to £3 a week. This covers the 3-piece suite, a bedroom suite, and also there's the gas stove, ward heaters, and gas fire.
So your income is completely tied up when you take home your
It's
wage
exhausted,
packet?
yes, after all these payments. Exactly. If I can have a stylist look at it for you, sir. But it's certainly big in the waist. Can we do that for you, sir? Have a stylist?
Yes, yes.
Fine.
And the trousers too?
He's a salesman in a fairly posh men's tailors and outfitters, where he's been for 7 years, promoted from packing via the cashier's department. You can start to feel scruffy in a smart shop like this if you don't look after your appearance. But the store's not cheap, and 2 suits a year, even at a discount, to say nothing of shirts and ties, can take quite a toll out of a salary of £20 a week and a couple of pounds commission. At least he can spread the cost of keeping up with the customers.
I'm able to add it to an account. That's 15 shillings a week, which is stopped from the salary. And they do allow you to spend 9 times your monthly payment, my monthly payment being 3. So I'm allowed to order up to £27.
What does your wife think about all that amount going out on your clothes?
I think again she would like to spend just as much herself. Of course, she can buy her clothes a little less than mine.
But she doesn't in fact spend as much.
She doesn't, no. She's no need to, really. She doesn't do the same type of job, therefore doesn't need the clothing.
Money burns too. Barbara and Morgan went on working when they were first married, and there was money to spend, so they spent it. But when they got a council flat, that meant furniture and the HP treadmill.
The furniture is a weekly payment of £2, and the gas appliances is £1 a week. But if you don't have to pay HP for furniture and things, usually you end up going and getting a car. You know, people do, they haven't got other HP, so they buy a car on HP, so really it's the same.
We put ourselves into this particular position. But I'm not worried, right?
You're
It's
not...
a necessity. To build up a home, it's a struggle, it's also a challenge.
They go on paying out rent and never see an end to it. As far as they're concerned, life is a hand-to-mouth existence, and surviving on a daily basis takes all their energy.
Have you ever sat down and planned a budget, or did it just happen?
Well,
It just happened,
you
actually.
just put it away.
You couldn't plan the budget. Not at the beginning.
I don't think I could plan a budget anyway, not to every penny or anything like that.
I think we started it off originally with the idea of saving up for furniture. We saved a certain sum and got tempted by holidays. Drawn into that, so we went on holiday instead.
Where did you go?
Mallorca.
Are you glad, or would you wish you'd kept the cash?
No, I prefer to have gone on holiday. We had a good time.
Glad.
At least we've been abroad.
Are there any things that you feel guilty about spending money on? How much do you smoke?
I smoke about 20 a day.
Mind you, they're not big cigarettes, they're only small cigarettes.
I have to be.
I enjoy it just as much though.
Has there ever been a time when one of you has gone into a shop and spent, by your standards, a large sum of money and upset the budget?
No.
No.
We've never had a large amount of money. No. I did this first of all, but just after we got married, and we never had children then, I bought a movie camera.
But that was
Yeah,
before it
attracted me.
didn't really matter because, I mean, we didn't have no
But it was still a
responsibilities
ridiculous
really,
buy.
you
I hadn't
know.
used it for over a year and a half.
Can't afford to buy the film.
Well, I don't know how to use the camera. Not properly anyway.
Do you find that you're able to save any money towards the deposit on a house?
No, it's impossible at the moment. Absolutely impossible.
How do you think some people on the same wage manage?
Probably they've previously saved up. A wise thing. But there again, while they were saving up, it was quite a job for them. They had to scrimp and scrape every penny, sacrifice entertainment.
Your budget doesn't seem to allow for going out much.
I have the occasional drink. If possible, if the children are good and asleep, we might just pop down together. This again depends on if you've got any spare cash.
Can you often go out for a drink together?
No, not very often. It's very occasionally.
Occasionally we bring one home, if she can't get out, that is. Occasionally I bring her one home.
When did you last go out for a drink?
Together.
6-7 weeks ago. This is just down to the corner for half an hour. That's all.
How would you manage if you had another baby?
We wouldn't.
I think all hell would
You know,
break out there.
I think.
I think then we would be worrying.
Oh, I'd worry then. Definitely.
A lot of people might think you don't get much fun out of the national average wage.
Only for our own fault, really.
But I think most people are like us anyway.
In what way?
Where they don't go out very often, you know, it's only occasionally. Most people are like that. Most couples with children.
A car and a smart semi don't look like a hard way of life, but the Price family's solution to the problem of living on the British national average wage has been to set up home with Mother. The car and the house belong to Mother-in-law, and Gaynor and her husband have lived there since they married 4 years ago. Surprisingly, perhaps, it's a solution which seems to work to everyone's advantage. They say they take away the loneliness for the older woman, and she certainly cushions them against the harsher realities of survival on £20 a week. In fact, they budget on a monthly basis and live very comfortably. Gaynor gets £40 a month in housekeeping, and an extra £15 goes towards the running costs of the house. They have a small insurance policy, but otherwise feel that saving is out of reach. Gaynor used to be a teacher, and insists that the one luxury she won't do without is private nursery education for the children. It's a viewpoint she mightn't be able to afford if she had to stand on her own feet financially, and certainly it seems a middle-class gesture which could prove expensive.
When both of them go, it might very well, but they'll only overlap at the little school for about a term. So that'll just be one term that it'll be 20 guineas. But it's not too bad because we want to find the money for that. We cut down on a few other things and plan ahead to save, to be able to pay it at the beginning of each term.
Can you think of anything specific that you have in fact had to cut down or out?
Clothes is always the first thing, and going out.
Although you can find and want to find the 10 guineas a term, does mixing with children whose parents have perhaps got more money to spend on them make for pressures from David, do you think?
Well, David's lucky because he's got good grandparents, and really he has got all the good toys that he wants, and I don't think that he'd ever know that we were hard up, really.
Have you considered what you're going to do about his education when he's older?
If you mean, do we want to pay and send him to a private school or to a public school? No, not even if I had an awful lot of money. I'm quite happy with the state education. I think I'd be a little bit worried if he was that age now, because I don't think that it's sorted out too well yet. But I think by the time David's 11, the comprehensive schools will be well in their swing, and I'll be quite happy to send him.
Keith Price teaches in a primary school and also gives private tuition in the evenings. This adds to his paycheck of £80 a month, but he's still not convinced that the average wage is a just reward for teaching young children.
Windows, you've just got blank spaces there. You want to try and get curtains in, you've got window ledges and everything else that's included on the windowsill. All right?
I had
What are you trying to do?
2 years in a sixth form. I did a year before going to college. I had 3 years at college. And then when I came out, my salary was just what I would call existence level. It has improved since then, but only a sort of minor improvement. And you know, when you hear of people in industry, admittedly sort of working overtime and all this sort of thing, getting far more than I pick up, then you tend to think of yourself as being slightly below average as far as the salary that you do pick up.
Have you ever considered taking, say, a manual job in preference to a brain job?
At the end of every month, when I'm getting short of money, yes, but at the beginning of a month, no. I much prefer teaching to any manual job.
I had quite a few.
However hard you work, and however lucky you are with your relatives, there are always things you miss. The Prices feel like a proper holiday abroad together, although Keith can sometimes take a school party away in the summer. They hardly ever go out for an evening treat. Mrs. Price, you said earlier that you thought yourself, in comparison with other people, to be on the side of hard up.
We are ourselves, but it just doesn't show somehow because we live here. We couldn't possibly be buying our own house and living like this. But because we live here and don't have so much to pay for rent or mortgage, we do seem to keep up quite well with everyone around here anyway.
Is it important to the two of you that you do have your own house one day? Is that something that you worry about?
No, I don't.
Not a great deal. It did me at first. You know, the idea of moving into live with my mother-in-law, you know, the fabulous mother-in-law sort of idea, myth, you know. But we get on so well that, you know, it hasn't worried me ever since. That I would be perfectly content to stay here, you know, for the rest of my duration on Earth anyway.
And I'm very glad to have them, of course.
Well, you wouldn't stay here, would you, on your own?
Not on my own.
It would be silly for us to try and buy a little house.
Well, you'd only sell this one and get a smaller one, wouldn't you?
It's a flat or something?
I suppose so, yes.
Are you aware of always counting the pennies?
Aware of being careful, but
yes. Not absolutely.
we never
sort of
get very
pinching.
worried about it. It never depresses me anyway.
Mrs. Jones, how does that compare with your attitude?
Well, I always like to think that I've got plenty. You know, I've saved enough for the essential bills like rates and gas and electricity and that sort of thing.
Would you
I
save for the
managed-
sake of saving if you had a windfall?
If I had a windfall? Oh, I don't think so now. I wouldn't save for the sake of saving, but I'd save it. I'd enjoy some of it, and I'd see my children secure.
Is she more cautious than you, do you think?
Yes, but I think we would be when we knew we were retiring in a few years. Now,
So you don't think it's a generation difference of attitude so much as an age?
I think that does come into it. I know I feel that I can't see that just because we're married and we've got 2 small children that we should just sit at home and save money. I mean, I think it's important for them that we're happy, and if we're happy with having the occasional night out, to me that's equally as important as putting £5 in the bank. But I'm sure, you know, we'll be a lot happier when we know we've got a little bit that we can draw on for
We do sort
important
of
things.
ridiculous things like, I mean, David was, what, 2 and just over 2 and, well, about 2 and 10 months, wasn't he, at Christmas? Well, really, he doesn't sort of appreciate the expense of things, and you could quite well get away with sort of buying him a small present for Christmas, but we do ridiculous things like buy him expensive presents for Christmas, like a pedal tractor, this sort of thing, which really we couldn't afford it. I mean,
Yes,
we could.
but
This was money we could
We all
save.
share in that, don't we, as a rule?
Oh, yes.
If we buy him something big, we'll
If there's anything needed for the house, we take each take a share. And you know, Keith does all the decorating and that's a jolly good help.
So a teacher in your position who didn't have the advantages of being able to live at home, would his standard of living be a satisfactory one?
I think it'd be proportionally lower, wouldn't you?
Oh, quite a lot. We'd have to, if we had to buy our own house or pay rent, we couldn't spend half we do on food. It'd have to be far more carefully watched, and clothes.
Hello, Jim. Over here for carving. How long will you be?
Brian Cook is a herdsman working in Lincolnshire.
All right, we are it, will it? About 20 minutes.
Middle of the night moments like this are part of his responsibility, as well as the normal pattern of a farming way of life, which for this skilled job pays off with £22.10 a week. With a job like Brian's, there's one advantage: a house goes with it. He's 29 with 2 children, one not yet at school. There are plenty of people who juggle with the problems of an average existence in the city who would envy this way of life, even gladly change places. But while life in the country may have its rewarding moments, living a long way from shops and schools, working all hours, makes different problems for a different kind of average man.
I've always been a herdsman. Before I left school, I was milking cows for my father. But, you know, I've always done this sort of work and tried to work my way to the top, and the ambition has been to be a dairy herd manager. Well, I start at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's usually 6 o'clock at night when I finish, with probably 2 hours off in the day, so it's about 10 hours a day. 6 days a week. Saturday and Sunday when I'm working, I usually work about 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday.
Does your wife come from a farming family?
No, she's a town girl. She likes the country. She gets a bit fed up with the loneliness at times. This is the only thing. You know, you're all the time running about. You have to drive everywhere. You can't just jump on a bus or walk around the corner to the shops.
What are you going to do at school today? You think you'll do some painting today? He could go on the bus in the morning.
There again, I'd have to take him at least a mile, but he'd have to go
10
out
past
of,
eight.
out of the house at 8:10, and he doesn't get home till 4:30, sometimes just after 4:30, which is a very long day for a child of 5.
Do you really think you couldn't live without a car?
Oh, not out here, no, definitely not. I mean, I don't fancy sort of walking or even biking to, as I said, it's 2 or 3 miles to the nearest shop.
Do you want them for too much for your bananas, love? Okay.
If you live in town, I mean, you can walk out your door and walk to the shops and sort of get your odd things day by day. But when you live in the country, you've got to sort of plan a week ahead of you all the time. And it's very difficult sometimes.
Mr. Cook, what don't you have to find the money for that other families would have to?
We don't have any rent to pay, which is quite useful, and we don't have any milk to buy. But everything else is just the same. We've never had a lot of money to throw about, and we always kept saying we was going to save up and get a banking account and probably buy a house somewhere. There's a lot of my people, friends what I know, young chaps that's been in the same trade as me, have packed up and gone to work in factories and other industry, and they're probably taking £10 a week more home than what I am. And, you know, they're all going to buy their own house. They're finished with farming.
Do you find that your priorities are different? Are there things that are important to you that aren't necessarily so important to them?
I think we're about all in the same boat. We have a job to make ends meet sometimes, but we manage and we live fairly well. Whereas we probably spend more on food, they probably spend more on pleasure. Maybe the chap goes to the pub 2 or 3 times a week, or plays darts, you know, and he'll probably eat a bit less food and drink a bit more beer.
Have you always had a house on the job?
Yes, I've always had it. This is one of the privileges, I suppose, of being a herdsman. You get a free house.
There's only one thing wrong with that. If when Brian's out of a job, or we have no house to live in, you see.
Is that something that worries you? Do you think about it?
Well, not now. We've got an insurance policy, haven't we? If he was sort of killed accidentally on his job, I mean, I'd be all right now with the children, sort of bring the children up. That was the main worry, really. It's only sort of one we've taken out recently because it worried me, the thought if anything did happen, because I mean anything could happen. He could get mauled by a bull or anything, you see. I'd be sort of landed with the children to bring up, and sort of working and bringing 2 children up. It's very difficult sort of give them a good education, so we thought we'd take a good policy out. If anything did happen to him, I mean, I'd be all right there.
When you've got the money, what's your idea of a treat?
Oh,
I think a good holiday, love, isn't it?
Yes, a really good holiday, yes. We've only this'll be the sort of the second holiday, apart from our honeymoon, we've had all the time we've been married.
We could probably do this once in a while. But then, you know, you ask yourself, is it worth it? And why suffer for 9 months or 12 months to enjoy a week every so often?
Do you go out much together?
No, we have a good night out.
Yeah, every 2 or 3 months we'll go out, you know, for a good night out. We'll probably go out and dine out somewhere, you know, have a few pints and a good meal.
How much would you reckon to spend on an evening like that?
£4 or £5 between the 2 of us.
Now, Gil.
If any birthdays or anniversaries come up, wedding anniversaries, we sort of try to arrange a night out then, don't we?
Yeah, so some special occasion somehow or other.
I'm not friends with him, so I'm dim anyway.
What do you do about Christmas? Do you start saving for Christmas presents?
I have mutual aid.
5 shillings a week.
5 shillings a week, mutual aid, which we do put away. And later on, when it gets sort of nearer Christmas, I try to put a little bit more in, and maybe say an extra £0.50 each, if we can. We haven't always managed it, have we? But we're hoping to this year.
Christmas is a burden, though, towards, you know, with it being such a big family. It takes you about, well, we're just pulling ourselves round after Christmas now. You know, it takes you a couple of months to get square again. Because before Christmas, you're shopping all the time. And after Christmas, your pockets are empty, and you've just got to face up to it, you know. After Christmas, you want coal, and there's road fund licence for the vehicle, and you know, these things all come on top of one another.
At Christmas time, we don't spend an awful lot on each other because we have to spend so much on sort of other presents for other people. But we're hoping to alter that this next year, aren't we?
Yeah, we're hoping
We'll sort of
to
try
cut
to
some
come to
out by some mutual agreement between these other people. They don't buy for us and we don't buy for them, and to cut the numbers down a little bit. I think we shall have to do this. It's shocking, the prices you have to pay.